Meeting of the Sports Authority Finance Committee to order. It is our opinion that the items on today's agenda constitute essential business of this body, and that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. Are there any objections? Hearing none, today's meeting is being live streamed by Metro ITS on Metro Network 2. At this time, I'll ask the committee members to let us know they are present. The roll call: Margaret Bam.
Present.
Thank you. Glenn Farner.
Present.
Thank you. Frank Harrison.
Here.
And Dan Hogan.
Here.
Thank you, everyone. All right, our first item up for consideration are the minutes from the February the 18th, 2021 meeting. Last Friday, you received the SharePoint link, which included minutes from our February meeting. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Approve. So moved. This is Glenn Farner.
All right, and second, I think I heard a second.
Frank Harrison, second.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion? All right, we'll do a roll call. Margaret Bem.
Aye.
Dan Hogan.
Aye.
Glenn Farner.
Aye.
Frank Harrison.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, our next item up for consideration is the approval of the fiscal year 21 position controls and the ratification of the fiscal year 22 department operating budget. And Director Monica Buck-Knotson is going to kick us off here.
Well, good morning, everyone. You'll remember that at our last meeting, we delayed this discussion, both of the FY21 update and the FY22 budget, in order to get some more information and some clarity on a couple of items from the Department of Finance. And we've had several conversations over the last few weeks, and we actually had our budget meeting with the Finance Department and the Mayor's Office, and a few other departments are represented in that as well this past Tuesday. And so at this time, I just want to walk you through our budget update and budget presentation, and then answer any questions that you have. All right, thank you, Melissa. So what you'll see here is that our current, or the original FY21 budget is $910,800. The adjusted budget is $1.361 million. And this adjustment is for the updated insurance premiums that we mentioned to you 3 weeks ago at our last meeting. We want to talk about a little more about the insurance billings and also the position control. Melissa, you can continue. And so what we said, and I'll remind anyone who may not have been at the meeting last month, is that overall Metro is seeing a rise in their insurance cost and insurance premiums. And so that's impacting many departments. And from talking to BC, who's on the call, and our insurance manager, I think a lot of insurance companies are just in the process of assessing risk. And of course, sports venues are high profile and subsequently high risk. And so I think we've seen a rise in our premiums, probably disproportionately. And so they have increased $451,000, and that's where we are. We know that will carry over into FY22 and is likely to go up from there, but we just don't know those numbers. numbers yet. Melissa, you can keep moving. So I hope that you've had an opportunity sometime this week to look at these budget documents in the presentation. And I just want to point out a couple of things on this page. The first line item for salaries, you'll see that that our current budget for salaries is $230,100. I think it's important to mention that this includes the executive director salary as well as the 2 administrative positions. It does not include Melissa's position as our finance manager. It also does not include what we're paying Bob Lackey, who is training Melissa and also serving in a consultant role. Those are being funded through the Arena Revenue Fund, because the Arena account, we are waiting for sales tax collections and seat user fee collections. So at this point, it's being funded through the Arena Revenue Fund, but really it's with allocations from the Bridgestone Arena account. The other thing that I would mention and point out is at the bottom, you'll see the line item for all other expenses, that the current budget was $519,900, and then the adjusted budget is $970,900. Melissa, you can keep going. And that, of course, is the difference as we have these additional insurance expenses. It's such a large line item, and every year the board says, well, what are these all other expenses? And so as you see here, the vast majority, 99.7% of that is insurance. I think it's important to note that 71% of our entire budget goes towards insurance cost. About 23% is compensation with salaries and fringes. And then also about 5% is made up of utilities. These are stormwater fees that we pay for Nissan Stadium, and then also some internal service fees. So when you look at our budget, really 98% of our budget is allocated, and there's very little that we affect. And I know most of you know that, but we do have a couple of new board members who have not, I don't think who've heard the presentation. So I think it's important to communicate that. Are there any questions about anything I've said so far? Okay, Melissa, let's keep going.
Monica, this is Dan. I'm sorry. I do have a question. This $450,000 plus differential, that's a shockingly high adjustment for insurance. How was that utterly unanticipated? Did we renegotiate something? I mean, forgive me for what may be an ignorant question, but I'd like to know, because it's such a substantial increase to the overall budget, how did this come to us so late and unanticipated?
Well, and BC may be able to answer this. I'm going to take a stab, and then BC, go ahead and please hop in if there's something that you'd like to add. It's an important question. It's a great question. And so, Dan, we go through the budget process in March and in April, but it's usually May before Metro really gets its final insurance numbers. And so there was going to be an increase anyway. And then honestly, I think a lot of the events of the summer in terms of some of the protests, again, had insurance companies re-examining risk, and premiums started to go up. BC, what would you add to that?
Yeah, so typically, and just to piggyback off what Monica said, typically what happens is we begin to assess our insurance needs around February, March. We don't get the actual numbers until May, as she said. And typically we assess it based on what it appears the market may be forecast. Looks like the forecast is going to be. Last year, we had a lot of events that occurred after the forecasting. The market hardened, not only for us, but across the board in most municipalities. In the public sector in particular, they just really hardened pretty hard. In fact, the places we could place our insurance narrowed down tremendously. In the past, we've been able to place all of our property insurance under one insurance company. And now we have to do what's called a shared and layered program, where we have, the first layer is up to X number of dollars, and then it goes down to the next layer. And so it's a much more complicated situation now just to place all of our coverage. And so we did have, of course, with Metro, we had the tornado that occurred last year, as well as the civil unrest claim, both of which are pending. And when we sent this to underwriting through the broker this year, we just had it shocked all of us, quite honestly. We anticipated one increase, and the broker did call me like early May and say, hey, it's not looking good. And we tried all kinds of angles in terms of trying to place it and stack it and layer it the best we could to try to get the best cost. And we just couldn't do it. And the same thing is happening this year, quite honestly. It's just, we do have it out. We bidded the property insurance broker, which is a 5-year contract that's going through procurement now. And in all honesty, if you consider typically we get 4 or 5 people that would submit a proposal, this year we got 2. And that just kind of speaks to how hard the market is right now. And people don't even want to touch public sector very much. So all of those things contributed to the fact that we had an unexpected increase last year. Anticipating an increase again this year. And I think, last year, it almost tripled, just about, I think, if I remember correctly.
BC, did I understand you to say that by obligating ourselves to this policy adjustment, we're binding ourselves to a 5-year agreement?
Well, so the 5-year agreement is with the broker. And so the premium changes annually. So, we're praying that the market softens some, but it just doesn't look like it's going to, based on all the losses you see across the country and across the globe. So it's for the broker and not the insurance company. So what the broker do, we'll try to, find somebody to insure it that can give us the best coverage at the best price. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be with the same insurance company each year. The broker is the only thing that will remain steady.
Understood. I guess my last question, and maybe this is for you, Monica, covering this $451,000 deficit, what percentage of our rainy day resources are now going to have to be dipped into? Is that 1/3 of what we have? Is that 10% of what we have?
Monica, if you're answering, you're on mute.
I was answering. I was talking away. Sorry about that. So Dan, as the finance department began to consider how they were going to address this rise in the insurance, they decided to use Sports Authority's fund balance. So fund balance isn't something that we've talked about much, but essentially it is excess general fund appropriation. So at the end of the year, historically, the Sports Authority comes in under budget. And so the money that we don't spend at the end of the year goes into our fund balance and is held there. And so over many years, this fund, the money accrues. And so we had about $411,000 in fund balance. And again, this, we've tried to be, I think, very fiscally responsible. I think that we've tried to manage Metro's resources very well. And so we did have this fund balance. And so they are using $411,000, which will deplete the fund balance. And then the finance department is preparing a supplemental request to cover the additional insurance and operational needs.
Thank you.
Any other questions about insurance or what we've presented so far?
I have a question. Which of our facilities has a civil unrest claim against it that we filed?
VC, do you want to address that? I think he means generally for Metro, but I'm going to let him take that one.
It is. It's generally with Metro. None of the Sports Authority facilities were damaged that I know about anyway. The courthouse was the primary damage. We had a lot of police cars that were damaged. I think there was a couple other buildings. So the two departments affected is General Service and I believe it was Parks.
So is our premium a prorated kind of premium and not just specifically related to the sports facilities?
So it's as it relates to the property insurance, it's inclusive with the total property insurance policy within Metro. So most of the buildings within Metro are insured under this one policy. It includes the Metro buildings also on our policy includes MTA, and it includes the Sports Authority and MNPS. NES kind of does their own thing, but most of the other quasi metropolitan forms of government are insured through this policy.
So are these increases are spread across the board between all of these different departments and agencies? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions before we move on? Okay. So as we move into the FY22 budget, the Finance Department asked all departments to provide a 2% reduction scenario for FY22. And, you know, based on what my earlier comments and the fact that 98% of our budget is really already accounted for between insurance, compensation, utilities, stormwater fees, and internal service fees, we really aren't able to make a 2% reduction on items that are subject to reduction without reducing salary. And that was something that came up and that I mentioned in the budget hearing on Tuesday. So we did, we went through the process and made an effort, but we just really don't have much. A 2% reduction would be very difficult for us to achieve. Melissa, you can keep going. So then we get to the position details, and we did talk about this in more detail last month. We have an open position right now, and the request is that we fill both the open position and also upgrade the second administrative position, which is Quentin's position, and move that from an ASO2, which is an Administrative Services Officer 2 position, to an ASO3. We do believe that our budget can absorb this. If we went back to one of the earlier slides where it showed the line item for salaries, it's $230,000. Our actuals are about $203,000. One of the reasons, or the main reason, that we come in under budget in the salary category is because before I became the director, I was in the ASO3 position. Alicia was hired at an ASO2, and so the difference in that salary remained in the budget. So essentially, as we asked to upgrade the positions, one is already funded, and the other one, we just have some flexibility in the budget to cover that. So we've worked very closely, had many conversations with Greg McLaren, our budget analyst, and he's on the call this morning if there are specific questions for him. But we do believe that our current budget can absorb the vast majority of the cost increase. And if for some reason we ran into a situation where we were not able to, or we just were a little bit short, then we would come back to the board and ask to fund that from the Sports Authority's administrative allocations from Bridgestone Arena, which is the same fund that pays Melissa's salary and also Bob Lackey's salary as well. So that is where we are. We go ahead, Melissa, and move up to the next slide, please. So if you look at our proposed budget, then you're going to see that there's not a change to the salary line item because we feel like we can absorb those upgraded positions and associated costs there. And then the main increase is for insurance. And like BC said, we are not sure what the actual cost will be for FY22. And so as more information is known and is shared with us, then the finance department will make some other decisions on how to cover those additional expenses as well. So that's our budget. I'll stop again and ask if anyone has questions.
Monica, I have some questions. This is Glenn.
Yes.
Excuse me. What is the difference between, I mean, other than probably a salary amount, but what's the difference in an AS02 and an AS03?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think when you look at the job descriptions, the AS03 position typically assumes a college degree. The AS02 does not, but they will, they can offset some things by the amount of experience you have. But what we are really looking to do is hire the best person we can. Obviously, as a 4-person department, we're wearing a lot of hats, and we really need to hire someone who can perform a higher level of administrative duties and who we can, who really is just going to be flexible and can wear a lot of different hats. And as I'll look at some of the other departments and was looking at a job description for the director of parks recently hired an assistant administrative position, and they actually hired that at an AS04. But I think that the most important thing for us is really trying to be strategic in this hire, Glenn, and give ourselves every opportunity to get, the most qualified person in to attract a strong candidate pool, because we've got a lot for them to do. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I was going to say for the second administrative position that Quentin is in, what we are seeking to do by upgrading that position is to add some additional duties that we feel like are really important, that we just need to do a better job of. And mainly that is the tracking of fixed assets, capital assets. And so I mentioned this briefly at the last meeting, but as we look at soccer and the construction of the stadium, as we look at all of our facilities, we just want to make sure that we are continuing to steward those well, that we understand all of the equipment and assets that are in the facility, that they are being tracked well from procurement when they enter the building to the time they leave, and as they even move through the surplus and e-bid process. And so there's a tagging system that the finance department has, and so we will, I'm sure, develop some of our own policies with regards to the tracking of fixed assets. And we'll work with the finance department as well. But that's going to be, I think, a really important function that I just honestly think we need to do a better job of. I mentioned this a year ago at our budget hearing with the finance department and the mayor's office, that I think this is really important. We just not have the capacity to do that. And so we're just really looking to focus on that as well.
Thank you. And I guess the second part of my question is, how do we, and I want to make sure, I'm not sure if I'm asking it correctly, how do we reconcile the expectations for a 2% cut at the same time we have, is it the amount we have budgeted, and we're moving from ASO2 to an ASO3. Yet, does that make sense? Like, you see, my question is, how are we expanding, whatever the salary, and I hear what you're saying, I understand it at all, but how do we reconcile that, even if it's unfilled positions, with the anticipated 2% cut? You know what I'm saying? Like, can we just say, oh, we can't do it, but yeah, we got these other things that we want to promote? How do we do that?
How do we do that? I think that, I guess, Glenn, what I would say is the 2% reduction scenario is something that all departments were asked to provide. I have to trust that our finance department, and as we work with Greg McLaren, and we've had multiple conversations with the finance department, and they understand the limitations of our budget. They understand that there's very little that, that we affect, and that, 98% of it is already allocated. They also understand the work of the Sports Authority, that our facilities have increased, that we have more responsibilities. And I think they also understand that we have really, I think, been good stewards over the years. And so even as we have, since I've been here over the last 5, when I came, there were two full-time positions, and we got the third position through the Mayor Barry's administration and their public investment program, and we went through a process to get approved for funding of that position. We did not go just directly to Metro's budget. And then when we look at Melissa and her hiring last year, we also were able to bring her on without any impact to the general fund, and same thing with Bob Lackey. And so I think they see that, we've really tried to manage well when we've tried to, get the job done, but to also limit the impact to the taxpayers. And so I think that, they seem to be open to what we're trying to do. I hear your question. We just don't really have, the 2% is very difficult.
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, I want us to have the best people we possibly can, and I want us to be able to pay people the most that we can. We're not, in any kind of disagreement. I just want to make sure that, or not make sure, I'm just asking the question is, when they say, okay, we anticipate, and you tell me if I'm just kind of oversimplifying or overthinking this, but if you go to them and say, well, 98% of our is already cut, we can't do this without, cutting salaries, and our salaries are important because, as you just explained, that they don't say, well, you've got these unfilled positions, that would count. I'm getting too far in the weeds. I'm just saying is, I just don't want to stand up saying, oh, well, we were expanding these positions at a time when we were anticipated to cut or in some way leave unfilled positions. That's probably for you to kind of figure out, but I was just posing the question.
I think I understand your question. I think I understand what you're asking in the spirit of it. I also think that this 2% reduction request is an exercise. I think that there are going to be many departments who are able to take let me not speak for anybody else's department. There are some departments that might have more flexibility than we do, but I think the goal in this request was to have departments really analyze their budgets and to see, is there something that can be trimmed? Is there something that can be reallocated? And then they can look at the broader picture and make some decisions.
Thank you.
Monica, I have a question. When I look at this proposed budget for fiscal year 2020, I look at the top line and the second line. I see it's been unchanged really for 3 years. And I think that goes to what you're saying about the stewardship of these funds. But I'm also wondering, can you Tommy remind me about how raises are instituted? Do we wait for Metro to do that, or are we as a board able to give raises to the employees?
So in the past, as the mayor, usually in April, the mayor has a state of Metro address and presents the budget. And at that point, we'll, announce any raises or incremental increases or cost of living adjustments. And then those are funded by the finance department. And so our positions are classified as open range, and so they may say you can increase the salary by 2% to 5%, or there will be a range, and then there will have to be a justification typically given for anything above 2 to 3%. And so for departments with boards or commissions who also have to approve that, then there is some additional flexibility, but the finance department will say, we're going to fund up to this amount. And then I guess anything else would have to be funded by the board and with additional conversations and approvals from HR.
Well, what I'm asking is there an ability for the sports authority to give employees a raise without getting permission from the finance department, for across the board raises for employees?
I think so. I don't know if anyone from HR is on the call. Margaret, I think the answer to your question is yes, but it would need to be with funds outside of the general fund.
Okay.
Right.
Is there someone on who can confirm that? What Monica just said?
Right now, I don't see. I'm
okay.
Scrolling down, but we'll get the answer to that, and I'll get back with you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. So if there are no other questions, then I would just summarize our request. And so the request would be to upgrade both administrative positions from an ASO2 to an ASO3, and that would be for FY21, because we really can't afford to wait until July or after July to fill this open position, especially. And then also to approve the FY22 budget.
Do those need to be, Mr. Chairman, does those need to be separate motions?
No, I believe we can do this all with one motion.
So moved.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, we will do a roll call vote on the motion. Margaret Bam.
Aye.
Glenn Farner.
Aye.
Frank Harrison.
Aye.
And Dan Hogan.
Aye.
All right, all in favor.
Forget me, Anna Page.
Oh, Anna Page. You're not on the committee though, right?
Yes, I am.
You are?
I think.
Not the finance committee, Anna.
Oh.
But if you're interested, we can talk about that.
Yeah. Happy to have you join, Anna.
All right. Then I'm not voting.
All of the current members have voted aye, so the motion passes. Monica, I just wanted to say thank you to you and your team for not only managing what you have, but also thinking ahead and keeping good people around and wanting to get new good people. I really appreciate that. I'm sure everyone in the committee would agree.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we've got the Nissan Stadium update. I believe we've got Bob Flynn on to give us an update.
Yes, good morning, Finance Committee members. I just want to check, Monica, was the report sent around to everybody?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, did the report that I sent to you last week, I think it was, did you send it around to all the committee members?
That did not go out to all the board, but we do have it and are ready to, I think, share it and some of the photos that you included.
All right, well, if you want to bring that up, board members, committee members, 3 weeks ago today, during I'll call it the deep freeze that we were experiencing over on the east side of the stadium on the third floor, we had 2 fire sprinklers and a 2.5-inch main line break. It was a result of the freeze, and with all that water, it happened about 2:30 in the morning. And we responded right away. We had one of my service techs came in here and came in. I think he was in here by 3 o'clock in the morning. But the water pretty much just kept continuously flowing even after we turned off the water because all the water was in the pipes. And it ran from the third level down to the second level, and even got into our east surface level basement. There was no destruction or nothing lost down there. But on the third level of the ticket office and the second level of the ticket office, you'll see the pictures that are on the screen right now, or one's on the screen. So there was quite a bit of water damage. We had a lot of ceiling tile go down. Of course, we had the ductwork go down. We had drywall that needed replaced. We had some. So far, our carpet we've been able to save through Stematics help, and we also had another company called ERT come in here, and they did a real good job on the vacuuming and restoring of the carpet. So I think we're going to be all right there. The other large area that did get that has damage is our escalator. If you're familiar with our building, we have 2 escalators on each side. One goes from the lobby to the third level, and then the third level up to the fourth level. In the second half, or the upper half, has sustained damage to that part of the escalator, and that part is not fixed. The majority of the office right now we have got back to where we can work out of if needed. Of the ticket office, and through some hard work from Jeff Reinhardt, and he was overseeing this project for 3 weeks from after this happened. It was pretty impressive, because it was a lot of water that had to drain. In this area where it came from was a non-heated area of the building between the it's almost between the third floor and the fourth floor. And, the temperatures, as you all know, for a whole week, they were pretty much below freezing. And, it's something we look for all the time, that we just know that, we had some other fire sprinklers, break in, like I had one break in the concession stand wall, but nothing there got damaged because it's all stainless steel. But we had a couple of those things pop, but this one really caused some damage. I don't have total numbers yet because it was pretty much we have to get this thing cleaned up and done without really asking for quotes and all that stuff. So it was more of an emergency reaction. So don't know if you guys have more questions. We did provide a pretty detailed report to Monica, and I think we can get that out to y'all. It just gives a little bit more detail about timing and some of the other what we've done to what we had to fix.
And I'll say too, I did have a chance to walk through the space with Bob, and water is very efficient. There was a lot of water that moved through that space, and it's a mess. And we'll send the report out after the meeting. We've had, as you can tell, some trouble getting the pictures up, but the pictures are always worth 1,000 words, and we want you to see those. But Bob, you can join in here too. It could have been worse. And there's a lot of, I think, computer and AV equipment that was kind of spared from damage and in some different ways. But we will wait for estimates to come in and begin to work on that.
And I'll add that, that when the sprinkler head blew and the pipe blew, the fire alarm system did go off, which notified our security, which is, something that if we didn't have that, if it wasn't working, it could have been, it would have run a lot longer, a lot more water would have gone down there, because we got to turn it off, I think, within 10 to 15 minutes of the water, but there was still water in the pipes that needed to drain. But yes, Monica came over and she was amazed how far water can actually move, because where it happened and where water damage was in those office spaces is it's surprising, or just it's amazing how water can just it finds holes, seeps, it travels. But happy to answer anything about it. Like I said, we're pretty much back in service right now. We had a little walkthrough yesterday, and I've got my vice president of ticketing hopefully coming over today, because I want to make sure she's good. That might be her office, actually, if you can see that picture. But and that was a good distance. That picture right there, that's where everything happened. Right above there, there was one sprinkler head in there. There's one sprinkler head on the other side of the door, and then the 2.5-inch pipe is where it all. That's where it all started, right there.
Bob, it's Margaret. Thank you for having systems in place that could look at this quickly and address it. I'm just wondering, is this something that might be covered by insurance?
Well, Monica, do you want to handle that, or me, or?
Either one.
Yeah, it should be I guess, it'll be a Metro insurance.
Monica, can you address that?
So we'll work with BC. Typically, we will file a claim and work with Metro Legal's claim department when we've had loss in the past, and BC and I haven't had a chance to really talk through this one yet. But as we work through the process and as we get the estimates, then we will keep you in the loop.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so you can see that's right where this picture is tells a lot right there. You can see the hoses are in there trying to dry up the place, but that's that hallway that just all came down.
Mm.
Anything else to report on today?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we're like I said, we're pretty much besides the escalator, we can pretty much start operating again. We still got some touch up, but I think Jeff Reinhardt and his team did a good job of getting it, and I did appreciate Monica coming over to walk through the mess. I think I called her a day or two afterwards, and she came over.
All right, thanks very much. Any other questions from the committee for Bob or for Monica? All right,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, well, this concludes our agenda items. I'd like to thank the members of the board, the sports authority staff, Metro Legal and Finance, facility team representatives, and everyone else for their input today. Are there any other final business items before we adjourn?
One thing that I wanted to mention, and this is really just to kind of get it on your radar, the Finance Committee will need to meet in April. And so we are, Margaret, Darby, are you?
I am on this call.
Oh, okay, great. So Margaret might be able to speak a little more to this. I don't want to say anything that I don't need to say, but there has been for a while some conversations about refunding and refinancing some of the existing debt at the ballpark and Nissan Stadium. And so I know the finance department and law department have been working on that. And so Margaret, or anything?
I think that you've, this is Margaret Darby, and Monica, I think that you've covered it. There's one other bond issue that we are looking at refunding, and that is the 2013A bonds at the arena that went to finance the Ford Ice Center Antioch facility. Now is a good time where we've experienced that it's a good time, but we also have been told by our financial advisor that it's a good time to do refundings if possible. If there are any candidates available, because the interest rates are fairly low, and we can get good savings to do those refundings. And so right now, what I call the finance team for bond issues is working together to craft documents and get prepared to bring these resolutions to the Sports Authority at its April meeting. And of course, you'll get those documents in advance of that April meeting to review and prepare any questions that you might have. We're looking at the April 15th board meeting, and then the matter will go through the regular process of going to the council, and then going through all the steps in order to get issued by the end of May.
Thank you, Margaret. Anything else, Monica?
Nothing else.
All right. Hearing no other new business, I will have take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. And meeting adjourned. The full board meeting will begin at 10:30. You don't have to log off unless you want to. Just please put yourself on mute. And we look forward to reconvening at 10:30. Thanks again to everyone this morning.